2, 1.
Are we live, though?
Could be.
And we're live! Welcome to Supreme Verdict. I'm your host and one of your announcers, Jon Dunning, and I'm joined by my co-announcer, the Coach. Welcome,
What's
sir.
up? What's up? How's everyone doing?
Oh, I think we're doing fine, and they can't talk yet because we haven't told them to. Let's go around the horn. Let's, before we introduce our announcers, let's introduce our producer of the show, actually the man that came up with the questions for Supreme Verdict tonight, and that is Johnny, the producer, Slivers. What do you have in store for us tonight, sir?
What do I have in store for you? I have questions in store for you. That's what I have in store for you. We're going to be talking about, in the spirit of M20 and Magic 20, like from 2020 and the whole, we're going to do a little reflective hindsight style question session here. So we're going to be reflecting on things like Magic cards in our lives, and it's going to be great. It's fine. You'll be perfectly fine.
And our Grand Arbiter tonight, we have given a new title to our judge, and that is Grand Arbiter Zuby. You've judged now. This is your second judging affair. What do you expect from the competitors tonight?
I expect nothing. But I'm hoping.
Thank you.
This is the D&D coming out in.
Yeah. I am expecting Pixie and Matt to put up a really good fight, unlike the last time. Because someone needs to dethrone the alt.
No, we don't.
We need
Nobody
an
needs to
alternate winner, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's not going to come easy, but let's introduce our competitors. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsors. This episode of Supreme Verdict is brought to you by Cardsphere.com. Cardsphere.com for the very best place to buy, sell, and trade your paper Magic the Gathering cards online. Also, head on over to inkedgaming.com. And also our sponsor, this video is brought to you by alcohol. That's right, the Scorpion Bowl from Stone Brewery tonight. 7.5% alcohol in this big bomber. Anyone else sponsored by alcohol tonight?
I'm sponsored by Bell's Pool Time, which is a Belgian-inspired wheat ale with cherry juice. Ooh. And I feel like this is only like 6%, 5%, but I'm going to drink 3 of them, so it'll be fine.
Perfect.
I'm sponsored by Nestle Sweet Tarts.
Ooh, perfect.
Diabetes in a bag.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have wine.
Wow.
I'm sponsored by bourbon. I don't know what percentage it is, but it's proofed, so it's good.
I like that Pixie's drinking wine out of like a disposable cup, like she's at a terrible art gallery opening.
I'm moving tomorrow. All my stuff is packed.
I get it.
Yeah, wonderful.
The walls are bare.
Johnny, you got something?
Just kicking back to some of the Reed's ginger beer to make sure I function tonight.
That has no alcohol in it. Perfect.
None at all.
All right, and before we jump into tonight's festivities, do we have a charity that we're focusing on, Johnny? Or you have actually a special message for the Magic community, right?
I do. You see, we spotlight every month the charity for mental health awareness of some kind. This month we are looking at Mental Health America, and there's something I don't chime in much on Twitter when it comes to like community drama and things that are going on, but something happened recently that was just generally disturbing for me, and to see it happening to someone like Sheldon Menery, it's just messed up. So recently there was a ban list update for EDH. Many people were aware of this. Many people know that some of these choices are controversial because people don't like the idea that they can't play with certain cards. So 2 bannings was Iona, and the other one was the Paradox Engine. Now, I don't agree with some of these choices. I don't agree with Paradox Engine. Not to say I don't understand why, but yeah, okay, fine. I think you can interact with it, but it's done. People were making death threats to other people on the rules committee because of this decision, and this is a perfect example. This is one of those, here on Tin Street, we have members of the cast who want to push for mental health awareness for their own personal reasons, but this is a reason why we see this is not a normal response to something. Something's gone sideways for people who make these choices, and that's off. So it's examples like this why we push for mental health awareness, because there needs to be services and support out there so people can kind of get through some coping mechanisms. So when a piece of cardboard is ruling your life that hard, that's when you gotta take a step back. That's insane. And people are gonna, I know some people might have money tied up in this, but at the end of the day, that's your choice. You decided to put your money in that cardboard. That's your choice. It's not Sheldon's fault. It's not Wizard's fault. It's not any of the finance people's fault. You made that choice, and it's up to us as players to take ownership over those choices and not make death threats. That's insane. Don't be insane. Take a step back, and if this is how strongly the card game is affecting you, take a break. It'll be there. You can come back, but this is nuts, and this is the reason why we push for things like this. Mental health is important, and there's no reason that we as players can't push for that kind of support, and just recognize if somebody's kind of going off their hinges, let them know there are different ways to handle this, and gently kind of coax them to something like Mental Health America or any of the other charities that will help find them services if they need that. That's my take.
Perfect.
And
yeah, no, well said, Johnny. Thank you so much. Yes, sorry to bring it real quick, but when prominent people, great people in the community are now receiving death threats for something so stupid, it's just kind of disappointing. So yes, it does tie in quite nicely to the mental health focus that we usually have. So without further ado, let's introduce our competitors. So introducing first, with a win-loss record of 0-0, representing Pixie Kitten Plays and Street Hooligans, PK. Welcome on, PK, as a competitor. You've been on the other side of the desk. How you feeling tonight?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were playing music.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm really nervous because I don't think I'm going to be good at this, but I'm really going to try really
You're
hard.
probably right, but it's okay.
Okay.
Oh,
No one has ever been good at this.
Wow.
Thank you for understanding.
Whatever this is.
I do like the inclusion of theme music, though. We need to do that for next Supreme Verdict.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you give me the reins of this,
YouTube.
I will. If you give me the reins of this, of one episode, like next month, I will make this stuff go wild.
Oh wow! All right, good. All right,
But it won't. It will have to be after football season. Just saying, because
here we go.
the 3 months I'll be gone and
let's
be busy.
Let's go to our next competitor with
If
0
only.
wins and 0 defeats, representing the EDHRec Podcast and EDHRec.com, Matt Morgan. Welcome, Matt.
Oh, I thought I was going to get intro music too, but I guess not.
We blew the budget on PK's intro music. Sorry.
That's fair. The licensing alone is exuberant. So yeah, I get it.
So welcome to the show, Matt. Thank you for
Your intro music was going to be It's Raining Men, and we couldn't get the rights.
Dang it. It's a good tune.
How you feeling, man? Going up against PK and I guess technically your boss. You feeling good?
I mean, well, I've been fired so many times by my boss. I don't know if it really matters anymore. So it'll be fine.
Perfect. Maybe some revenge. We'll see how this episode shakes up. All right. Now, introducing last but not least, our with a record of 2 wins and 0 defeats, representing Brainstorm Brewery, EDHRec.com, MTG Price, and Director's Cut, Jason Alt!
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, sir.
Oh, wow.
R.I.P. Tony Scott.
You can already tell who the favorite is now. Just saying.
Well, I mean, he has earned it. So, I mean, how do you feel tonight? Are you more afraid of these 2 competitors than you were any of the past competitors?
Implying I was ever afraid of anybody on a show for no prizes.
Right.
We blew the budget on that too.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
It was going to be a $10,000 cash prize, but 2 grainy
Yes, sir.
seconds of the Top Gun theme song.
Yeah.
I got
Now
you
I can't
back.
monetize this video. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Coach, you know, we've both competed against Jason. What do you think the keys to victory are for our two newest competitors? What do you think that Matt and PK can do that so many have not been able to do?
Use complete sentences.
That's
it.
That's a start.
That's about it. That's what we got.
Don't argue against your own point.
Don't talk about kissing my son on the mouth.
Yeah. I think I need my opponents to be drunk and I need Jason to be sober, and I'll be all right.
Right. Yeah. All right.
He knows where I derive my power from.
True.
It'll take
All
a while to get drunk on 5%.
You have 2 kids. Of course I know where your power comes from.
All right, now without further ado, let me get into the rules of Supreme Verdict. We have 4 rounds. Each round consists of an opening argument, a rebuttal, and a closing statement. A question will be asked to the contestants in rotating order. Each contestant will be given 3 minutes for their opening argument, then 1 minute for rebuttals, 1 minute for closing statements. In rounds 1, 2, and 4, the grand arbiter, the judge, which is Zuby tonight, will decide who has won the round and will be awarded 1 point. 0 points will be given to the non-round winners. In the event of a tie, majority chat vote decides. Round 3, majority chat vote decides the round winner. So that's right. Zuby is the grand arbiter, but for round 3, you, the chat, gets to decide who wins the round. All right. So without further ado, let's get this thing started. It's time! Johnny the producer, round 1. Let's hear a question.
So, with regard to Magic 20 and the theme of 2020, we're going to recap and look back at the set and tell me something. I want to know, we'll start with Matt, which card, which rare or mythic, basically, do you feel was the worst inclusion and why? And then what Magic card would you have replaced it with? So let's say you don't like a card, tell us why, and what reprint would you put in its place?
In Core Set 2020?
Core Set 2020.
So time starts. Zuby,
and we'll start the...
Oh, I got to do the time too?
Yeah, you're the timekeeper.
But what are the round times? Because I totally don't know.
3 minutes, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Yep.
Oh, 3 minutes. Okay, 1 minute. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'm
No
the worst,
bueno.
okay? Okay.
Time starts.
All right. And tell me when.
You tell them when.
Oh, time starts. Well, I thought with the person asking the questions, they would say time starts now. Okay,
Good.
time starts now. All right.
This is your
Now-
third time
Oh my
doing
gosh.
this, right?
Last time I did not do the time though. This is a new job for me. Okay.
Yes, we did. You were just drunk last time. All right, Matt, go.
Okay, I will speak up and I will say Grafdigger's Cage probably was one of the least wow factor reprints. I know it's a great card in Modern. I know it's good always to get that out there. You know, whenever it gets about $10 or so, I know players kind of get a little skeezy, a little uneasy about trying to pay that much to play Modern, especially for a sideboard card. It might do some things in Standard. It might have some impact. As far as what do I want to see reprinted back there instead, don't want to see Thoughtseize. That ruined Standard last time. I want to say Collected Company. I am green. I love casting green spells. I like getting value. So personally, I would go with probably Collected Company. It's just a really good utility card. It encourages a lot of creatures getting put into decks. Last time that we had there, it was a pretty fun Standard, you know, when Dragons of Tarkir was around. I think it just makes for some really interesting creature. You know, it puts pressure on the control decks because they're getting outvalued. I think when there's a good aggro, maybe mid-range deck in Standard, it's usually the most interesting, something that might be able to go bigger than the red decks, but still is fast enough to put pressure on the green decks. So for the pure sake of Standard play and a decent reprint for Modern, I think Collected Company would have been really fun to see. That's just, yeah, I love casting Collected Company. I've cast more than I care to count, so I'm a little biased, but you know what? It's just a great card. It does a lot for creature decks, and I think it would make for a pretty good limited environment too. It has a little bit of deck building restrictions, so you're not getting busted stuff like Court of Calling might have, but you're still getting a good amount of value. So Collected Company probably would be my pick over Grafdigger's Cage.
And number 55, Matthew Morgan coming up. Nice swing down the middle, going to second base, and he will stay there in for a good, nice little drive. He is in position to score, Jon Dunning. What is your thoughts on this last instant replay?
Well, Coco is a spicy pick. He did make some points saying that Thoughtseize was a problem, but Coco, that's a spicy meatball too. Let's see who's up next to combat that.
The question goes to Pixie next. Same question. Which card do you feel was the worst inclusion for 2020, a rare mythic, and what card would you have put in its place? Any kind of reprints?
Starting now.
Inclusion?
Starting now.
Does that have to be a reprint?
It doesn't necessarily. No, it doesn't have to necessarily be a reprint.
Oh, well, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It has to be a reprint.
Time
New
is
rule.
ticking.
I don't know what's a reprint, so I can't answer that. I can't answer it if it has to be a reprint. Like, I just don't even know.
Just answer whatever.
Okay. Also, I want to say, I thought the theme of this episode was going to be our favorite play style, so that's what I prepped for.
That's more prep than I did.
I didn't know we were allowed to prep.
we weren't.
prepping
That's the
here,
point.
this?
Okay, so the worst card, Agent of Treachery. Obviously, it's horrible. It's blue doesn't need anything else. It's really expensive. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants their stuff taken away from them. It's just the worst. It should not have been printed. It's not a card that should exist. A card that should be reprinted? That's what I have to answer.
Taking that card out of it, taking Agent of Treachery out of it, and then putting something in its place.
Y'all have made a mistake putting me in this. I'm telling you right now. I don't know cards. So
Pick your favorite card.
Pick one.
My favorite card, one of my favorite cards ever is Thalia, Heretic Cathar.
Okay.
So
But it has to be the same color if you're going to replace it, though,
All
right?
well,
always
no,
has it.
No.
Hey.
Not
The
We didn't
rules
make
are
any
so
of these
ambiguous.
rules. And all you're doing is stepping on my potential rebuttals later. So let's let the peanut gallery quiet down a
All
little.
right. Fair.
Yeah, I'm done.
And number 3, quarterback Pixie Kitten takes the ball, keeps it for herself, and gets smacked by the 300-pound nose tackle. She does not know who she is anymore. John, that was brutal on Pixie Kitten for that last play there.
I will say, Agent, a lot of people are complaining about this standard format, saying that it's a whole lot of lockout and not, having your opponent not being able to play Magic and just everything being taken from you. So, I mean, Agent of Treachery, there's something to be said about that pick. It's just, Thalia, who knows? But we'll see how this all plays out. Let's see what our not champion yet. He doesn't have a belt yet, but our undefeated competitor has to combat those two options.
Tell me
Do
when
you
to
want
start.
that question again? All right.
Starts now.
Starting now.
I think if we're going to talk about a reprint, which you guys can't agree on whether or not we're talking about a reprint we take out, but if we are talking about a reprint that shouldn't be in there, I want to talk about the worst nature of a reprint, and that is the functional reprint. What they did was they printed a card called Lotus Field, which violates the spirit of the reserve list. They're basically playing just the tip with getting rid of the reserve list, and this is kind of for the finance community, for people who are holding a ton of cards, millions of dollars in value. This was a scary card to have printed. It didn't do anything for the set. It's worth like $7 in tanking. Nobody really is excited about this card, but the fact that it's being printed sort of sends a really terrifying signal to anybody that's got any value. So if they're going to violate the reserve list by printing functional reprints like, oh, we didn't do dual lands, we did snow duels. This is a signal that they're willing to do crap like that and see what the backlash is. And I think they shouldn't have done that. I think it was a terrible idea. The card's not even really that good. And it was just completely unnecessary. If you're going to reprint a land, do something that people actually need. They need Cabal Coffers. Now, Cabal Coffers goes in the land spot, which is, what also Lotus Field is. But there's also synergy with cards that are already in the set. Stuff like Dread Presence that incentivizes you to play a lot of swamps. So I think Cabal Coffers actually wouldn't be that bad, even in limited, if you just threw it in the set. because you could build like a draft heavy or a swamp heavy thing with Dread Presence. Cabal Coffers would probably go in the set as rare, but you're just taking out a rare land and swapping it for another one that doesn't violate the Spirit of the Reserve list. Plus, Cabal Coffers is a good card from Magic's past, and it's a card that people desperately need. It's a staple in EDH, and it's way too expensive. So instead of messing with the reserve list, why not give people a card they've been clamoring for? That's what I would have done personally.
Number 5, Jason throwing the ball to his slot receiver and going all the way down to the 5-yard line in position to score. Will he get it on the next play, Mr. Dunning?
Well, you said it, Coach. He went out and came out firing. He has shown why he is an undefeated force in this game. But there was some good arguments within that round. So let's go to rebuttals and see if someone could really pull away from the pack.
All right, we're gonna go to Matt for your first rebuttal. You have 1 minute.
So Matt, you gotta tell the Grand Arbiter basically why your pick is better and why those two picks are wrong.
Why my pick is better? Well, we already have Cabal Stronghold. We don't need Cabal Coffers. It's in Standard. Came out in Dominaria. It hasn't added anything to the format. If we're putting stuff in the rare slot, why aren't we trying to make Standard better? Ever since the play design team came on board with Wizards, which was about Guilds of Ravnica, I want to say, everything's taken off. It's gotten so much better. So why would we want to mess that up and step on Cabal Stronghold, which we already know isn't going to do anything? It's not going to contribute to Standard, which is their focus. A better Standard means a better Magic overall because there are more people getting into the game. Agent of Acquisitions, was it? It's a 7-mana card? Agent of Treachery, that one. It's like 1 million mana. Nobody's playing it in EDH, and nobody's going to play it in Standard. Okay.
15 seconds.
It's but I don't think Cabal Coffers is really going to add anything that Cabal Stronghold adds already, and it's seeing next to 0 Standard play.
5 seconds.
And Collected Company is amazing.
Time.
End of story.
Mr. Morgan comes down the ice hockey ring and scores 1 in for his team. That's a nice little
ring or rink.
That's their sport. What's
the
going
same
on
thing.
here?
It definitely sounded like he maybe wasn't arguing on a Magic show, but running for president because a better Standard is a better Magic.
I got 6 more years before I could run for president, sir.
God help us all. All right, let's
literally the worst.
Let's go to the next chicken nuggets for everybody on their deck.
Chicken nuggets for everyone.
Yep. All right. Are we going in order, Johnny? Is PK up next?
Yep. Pixie's next.
All right. Tell us why these fools are wrong and why your pick is the best.
And starting now.
Well, who cares about these other cards that nobody's ever heard of, ever? Why would any of those win? Who doesn't love a creature like Thalia who makes all of your opponent's creatures come in tapped? That's great. That's the card that should have been reprinted. Thalia should have been reprinted. That's it. Not these other cards nobody's literally ever heard of.
All right.
Is that Coach?
Yeah, that's it.
That's literally the worst. And going in for the haymaker and swings and completely misses her opponent and gets knocked right in the face and goes down for the count.
I think she should get points for just not knowing Cabal Coffers and Coco. I think that's like some kind of...
Sir, she will get points from the 3 judges in this metaphorical boxing ring, all right?
Points for her zeal.
Yeah, there we go. There's 100% zealotry on Talia. Yeah. All right. Go for it.
All right, Jason, starting now.
If you were going to put Coco in the set, why would you take out an artifact? If you're going to take out a card, take out Shared Summons. Because you criticized me for implying we put Cabal Coffers in a Standard format that already has a terrible, terrible card to compare it to in Cabal Stronghold, which sees no play because it is a bad version of Cabal Coffers. Why would you have Shared Summons and Collected Company both in the same set? So maybe if you could make an argument for Coco, maybe if you wanted to do that, you said to take the wrong card out. I think that Agent of Treachery is fine. People are playing Mass Manipulation for 7 mana and getting 2 creatures, so Agent of Treachery is playable in EDH, especially decks like Maelstrom Wanderer, where you cascade into it and pair it with Deadeye Navigator. It's very good.
10 seconds.
Agent of Treachery is one of my favorite cards in the set. And yeah, did Agent step on mass manipulation? It did not.
Jason,
I feel like I got way less time than the rest
to the
of them.
basket and slam dunking on the basket itself, and I think he broke the backboard. John, what do you think? That's pretty dangerous right there.
In the words of NBA Jam, he's on fire. I don't know though. I don't know how to call this one. This one was pretty close. PK
I don't know.
made some real.
Jason suggested taking out a non-reprint card in place of a reprint, so he fought against his own argument.
Oh, all right.
Oh, do we get extra rebuttal time?
Well, no. Grand Arbiter, please strike that last comment from. Strike that. Please.
From the record, but not.
Right. Not from your heart,
strike it.
but from your memory. No, we do get one extra minute apiece though, just for closing arguments. Just to kind of I guess you could use rebuttal as well. I mean, you could. This is just a minute more of whatever you want to say about your card, and I guess we'll start back with Matt.
And starting now.
Oh well. Well, I mean, yeah, we were told to take out a reprint, and Jason just suggested taking out a new card. So, I mean, granted, the rules weren't terribly clear going in, changed halfway through. That's not Jason's fault, though. So we won't hold it against Jason. But I did choose to take out a reprint. If we're taking out a new card, he suggested a good one, but I was told to take a reprint out of the set, put a new reprint in. So I was just following the rules. Can't hold that against him.
That is a great point.
All right, PK.
I'm here.
Starting now.
Yep.
I'm attempting to participate. So that's it.
Rudy,
And you're doing a wonderful job.
She gets the
Rudy.
merit.
Underdog. Yes, that's me.
Perfect.
That's me.
Jason or Zuby, tell Jason when he's ready for the minute.
Jason, start now.
So, Matt, by following the rules and taking out a reprint card and put it in a different one, then you would have put Coco and Shared Summons in the same set, and I'm not sure how that is a better argument.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I would have... Yeah.
Because you didn't think of it, because you didn't think. You went off all half-cogs.
No.
And a ballsy move by Jason Alt as he walks into the end zone. Score.
Wow.
I call Dave. I'm pretty sure.
You didn't think
maybe
about the consequences.
Yeah, I don't know, Coach. This was a hard-fought battle. PK just came out swinging, right? I think she is the odds-on favorite to win this round.
She has to.
swinging and missing.
Did you bring her on just to bully her? You guys,
No.
you had her
Not
prep
on
the wrong
purpose.
thing as a joke. This isn't funny.
She's contractually obligated to be here every week.
I would like PK on my line so I can, set her up sweet saucer passes and let her swing at an empty net. Like this is. I want to help her now. I don't want to kick her when she's down. You guys are monsters. And now you're laughing at her.
Yeah,
Unreal. This is
the
bullying.
worst.
We're better than this as a community.
Are we though?
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
No, we opened up the
Absolutely
show for chiding people for threatening a man with cancer.
That already had cancer.
I don't know. Let's go to the scoreboard. Our Grand Arbiter Zuby, do you have the results in? What do you think? How did each competitor fare? Tell us your wisdom, sir.
Well, I was almost leaning towards Jason, except for that last quote unquote rebuttal. That wasn't much of a rebuttal in the last round there.
Uh-oh.
Oh God, it's really tough because Matt makes a really good point. But Jason brings up a good point with Shared Summons. But Pixie,
You don't have to give me a pity vote. You really don't.
It's I don't know. It's tough because Jason had probably the most unique one, but the thing that kind of kills it for me is Cabal Stronghold's already in standard, so it's almost like reprinting the same kind of card in a sense. It's worse. Well, it's better than Stronghold. So, oh God, this is a tough one.
Take everything in consideration, the argument itself, the picks, all that.
Yeah, it's.
I'm gonna give you.
God, if I just had to choose picks alone, Jason would win. But I feel like Matt had the better argument overall.
So Matt takes the round.
I feel like just based on argument alone.
All right, Matt takes the round.
And
Foundation
swinging
is
a
crumbling,
hit,
Jason.
ball goes out of the ballpark, and Matthew Morgan comes to home plate, giving the middle finger to the home crowd.
So is there like an appeal process, or what's the deal?
That was called the rebuttal.
You have to take it up with the producer.
It's called round 2, but all I have to
Yikes.
say is the Russian is cut. We'll see how the rest of this pans out. And Coach, I think that both all competitors really, poured their heart out on the field, so to speak. How do you think?
2 of them are having success, John. The
Yeah.
other one doesn't know she's part of the competition.
Oh God!
Oh, I love you, PK.
Terrible.
It's true.
All right. So without further ado, let's go to the producer. What do you have in store for us for round 2?
All right. For the
God.
second question, we have we've all made regrettable choices in our lives at one point or another when it comes to music purchases. What is the most regrettable and shameful music purchase you have ever made in your life, and how did you redeem yourself?
Oh, God.
And who's going first on this one, Johnny?
That goes to Pixie first.
Pixie first. Zuby,
All right,
we ready?
hold on. No, because I have to write down these questions, so I have an idea when I'm trying to judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put
All right,
3 minutes on the
starting-
clock.
One more time, Johnny.
We got to repeat the question,
Okay.
Johnny.
We've all made regrettable choices in our lives at one point or another when it comes to music purchases. What is the most regrettable and shameful music purchase you have made in your life, and how did you redeem yourself?
Okay.
All right, starting now.
So when I was younger, I once bought an album of Rihanna's music.
Ooh.
And I regret it. It was awful. It's Rihanna. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody buy Rihanna's album? I've never done it since. I've changed my ways. I don't listen to that kind of music anymore. I would never. If I hear it on the radio, I change it. I've never even fallen back into it. So I realized my mistake, and I'm a better person for it, really, because now I know, don't listen to Rihanna's music ever.
And Pixie Kitten coming up the swing and completely missing and throwing her bat into the crowd.
What?
That was kind of a horrible for smack talking baby girl Rihanna. We can't have that on this show.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
So
You cannot
Pixie,
do
you still
that.
have some time. Coach Zibit, Pixie, you still have some time. How did you redeem yourself?
I've never done it again. I've never listened to Rihanna's music ever since then. I won't listen to it. It's awful.
Well, there's two things that are true, Coach, and that is, first off, Rihanna has some bangers, so to speak, and the second thing that's true is, if people say that money can't buy love, well, they've never been to Reno. So let's go, and that joke was strictly for Matt Morgan. Let's go back to Johnny, who is up next.
What?
So Johnny.
To Johnny? No,
Johnny, you're up.
Tables have turned, Jonathan.
Hey, Johnny Morgan.
We're just gonna throw me in. Okay.
Well,
No,
you gotta say
next-
who's going next.
Next up is Jason.
Okay.
All right, starting now.
Oh, I'm second now.
Yeah, we're rotating through. so-
Rotation.
The year was 1993. The album, Ace of Bases, the sign.
Oh.
The money spent on the album, mine, my own money. The first cassette tape I ever purchased with my own money was music made by a Nazi named Ulf Ekberg, who was in a skinhead band called Commit Suicide before he joined Ace of Base. I bought Nazi music, folks. It wasn't easy to redeem myself for having bought what was basic bitch music at the time. And then it turns out I had a delightful Nazi undertone. The only possible way to redeem yourself is to have that CD in your car. Not the cassette, not the same, but like the same album. To have it in your car because you bought it at a dollar store and were planning to sell it on eBay, because that's what you were doing at that time. And the girl you were on a date with, seeing it, said, "Oh, I love that album, and then doing butt stuff. So I bought a Nazi record, but butt stuff. So I'd say it's a wash.
So wait, because you had the album, you got butt stuff?
I'm not saying that that's the reason, but I am saying that if she was on the fence,
Was that the
album helped. She saw the
redemption?
sign and it opened up her eyes.
Oh.
She said, "Don't turn around."
Yeah, she did turn around though. She did turn around.
What the fuck? All right.
Wait, so
Wow.
Ace of Bases is Nazi music?
One of the guys was in a skinhead band before he formed Ace of Base.
Oh, okay.
And
No
Jason going to try to score, and he goes up and swings and breaks his own hockey stick, and he cannot play this round anymore. That was quite amusing, John, because I don't know what just happened there.
I don't know how to call it. We
I
have
fucking
Nazis,
killed
we
it.
have
That's
butt
what just
stuff.
happened. That was the best answer you'll hear tonight to any question.
Oh man, this is the last show, last Supreme Verdict, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know what you people want from me if you don't want that.
A lost round, is a Jason scoring is a terrible thing because he.
I don't get it. I didn't kiss anybody's son in that answer.
Jason already scored for that story.
There was
Yeah.
self cannibalism, right? That wasn't even me. All right. Do we have the time on the
about
clock for
Matt.
Matt?
All right.
God.
How do you
Matt,
follow that up?
are-
Jesus, fuck.
Matt, you ready?
I don't think I can follow that up.
Okay, so starting now.
Compete, you
Starting
coward.
now.
Yeah.
Go.
So my days in college, my freshman year, namely, I was quite the sad boy. My hair was longer than Pixie's.
Oh wow.
It was not a good look. It was not a good time for me. Not proud of my musical choices. So not only did I have the album, but I bought concert tickets to see My Chemical Romance in concerts. And let's just say I was not okay. I'm sorry for what I did, but I did redeem myself years later. Not only did I buy myself concert tickets to go see the great disco funk band Earth, Wind, and Fire,
There you
but I
go.
had a blast. It was not a night in September, but we hung out by the Kalimba tree, and we saw that it was written in the stone to atone for my sins. So yeah, I saw My Chemical Romance, and I am sorry.
A nice little
Jealous.
swing with his 9-iron, John, and on a par 3, and he shoots it up and actually gets on the green. Wow, that was a very nice play by Matthew Morgan there.
I don't know whether to be agree or offended by that because I actually paid money happily to go see My Chemical Romance, so I don't know if I should.
This
you
year.
should be.
This year he
you
did
should
that.
be ashamed, John.
What's that?
Aw.
It was bad. The opening band was Alkaline Trio, though. Who
Oh, God.
I very
Alkaline
much
Trio
enjoy.
Tattoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how to call that. I mean, I know how I would personally call it so far, but I have, serious bias on just the bands picked. But we'll see how it goes with Rebuttals. So whenever you're ready, Zuby, tell people when they're ready, I guess.
All right, Pixie, you are up first. Starting now. Got a minute.
Okay, so first of all, My Chemical Romance is the greatest. So why would that be your answer about your most regrettable music choice? Secondly, I don't know about that Ace of Base thing. I couldn't even tell you any songs that they sang.
How dare you?
But okay, so buying a Rihanna album called Good Girl Gone Bad is definitely the most embarrassing piece of music that we're hearing here. It's
We don't
true.
We don't talk bad about her.
No, it's bad. I regret it.
20 seconds.
It was not a good choice. No one should listen to it, and the album should be banned from the world forever.
And Pixie Kitten popping up from the only to get uppercutted in the face once more, and she's back on the canvas.
Oh my God! Now we're beating women. Oh boy, this show's really.
Oh boy, we're never doing this again, are we?
Really taking a turn.
Boy.
Wow.
Granted, this is another metaphorical woman that she's getting bopped by.
I mean,
Anyway.
my kids know all the words to S&M Airlines, so I'm a little biased again, but whether that's good or bad, we'll have to see. The verdict is out. The supreme verdict is out, so let's go to the next competitor. That's a segment.
All right. Jason, you have 1 minute for your rebuttal, starting now.
I feel like you're going to make a lot of people really offended by implying that an album called Good Girl Gone Bad, which has over 10 million sales worldwide, 1 platinum, is a regrettable choice when, as far as I know, Rihanna was never in a Nazi band. Now, as far as My Chemical Romance goes, that's a band that a lot of people on this panel seem to like.
Yeah.
And going to an MCR concert is like the least sad boy thing you've ever done. You still have a sad boy haircut. You didn't redeem. And both of you, you're like, well, I never did that again. That's how you redeemed yourself? You just went and saw a different band? Whoa, wow. Color me impressed. Well, I didn't buy the CD a second time. Well, you're redeemed. That's like saying, Your Honor, I redeemed myself for that murder by not committing a second murder. Or I murdered someone else. If you're going to murder someone, murder a Nazi. Nazi music bad, Rihanna good. MCR.
1 minute, you're done.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, and a nice little shuffle pass over to the wide receiver, and he goes in for... Did he just fumble the ball? And it's back over to the defense.
Oh my God.
That was...
All right.
That was,
All right.
I
Matt,
love
are
how
you ready for
belligerent
your
the belligerent
rebuttal?
commentary from Coach is the best.
Is he
It is.
listening to a different response? Like,
I'm going through different sports because apparently like 3/4 of us don't know how football works. So I got to like switch it up.
I
Like
know.
boxing so far has been used twice, and both of them were
Start-
Pixie.
Start using baseball, bro. Need some
I
baseball.
was- That was the first thing I used was baseball.
I
That was
have-
from Matthew.
Well,
I didn't even remember.
going back
All
to this
right.
round so far, and Jason's opening statement or the rebuttal, I have to say one word, and that's clean, which I can't really say about myself right now and my other reasons. So let's keep this show moving along. And
Why?
the next one up,
this is why you're not a competitor this week.
Jesus.
because I'm too gross.
I think it's Matt's turn.
It's not gross enough. All right, Matt, are you ready for your rebuttal?
It's like
You have
Florida
1
down
minute
here.
on the clock.
I mean, as long as I don't make John feel weird feelings, I think I've won. So,
My
Okay.
nipples are
Let's be
erect,
real,
Matt.
1
but
minute
as soon
on
as
the
anybody-
clock, starting now.
I mean, when the sun shines, it shines forever, right? So we can't say that Rihanna was really a bad decision. I mean, maybe spontaneous, sure, but like Rihanna's a classic. Jason used Ace of Base. There's no redemption in that story. He then used Ace of Base for his own personal gain. That means kind of a Nazi sympathizer because he used the Nazis for himself.
Dirty.
Maybe sympathizer's a little strong,
Someone's getting
but
fired.
he did use Ace of Base for his own selfish gains as part of his redemption. And I don't think, I mean, Pixie had a re-intervention, I guess, but
Oh,
Yeah.
there's nothing to be ashamed about,
pun point.
PK. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Jason, maybe, but
10
PK,
seconds.
you're all right. Mic drop.
And number 55, Matthew Morgan, coming up for the blitz and smacking the quarterback, ripping his head clean off, picking up the ball and scoring the touchdown for his team.
My favorite part of that is where Matt got real nervous real fast.
Fine job, sir. Fine
He's
job.
probably
You
won't
get a
affect
golf.
your
You get a
career
golf
at
clap
all.
for that.
Alta Nazi.
Probably won't affect
I
your
mean,
career, but-
he's not really one. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. What are
Well,
we doing?
now we got to do closing arguments.
Closing arguments.
All right. Starting with Pixie, you have 1 minute for your closing argument. Convince me why Rihanna is the worst.
This is a tight round, guys. Take this seriously. Let's go.
All right. You have 1 minute starting now.
I mean, Rihanna is the most basic bitch music you can get. Okay, it's awful. I mean, it's terrible. Like, you don't want to buy that. You don't be a person that buys that, and I did, and I deeply regret it. And I'm pretty sure that I gave that CD to Goodwill. And honestly, I regret that too, because now somebody else listens to it. And I wish I just destroyed it. But I've never listened to it again. I've never put it in my ears, okay? I feel like that is a true redemption. I've never gone back to it, never faltered. That's it.
All right.
You got
Go with the next person.
Yeah, let's go. Let's keep this train rolling. Let's go.
Oh,
Jason.
oh God. All right, Jason, you got 1 minute starting now. Convince me.
I feel like I'm safe not wasting any time on Pixie's argument. What I will say is in 2007, nobody knew that Ace of Base was Nazis. All I knew was that I could sell that CD on eBay for more than I paid for it, and I was going to flip it. But I flipped something else when somebody saw that CD and said, hey, I like that band. Now, if anyone's a Nazi sympathizer, it's her. And look what happened to her. What did I do to that Nazi sympathizer? So if anything, I'm going hard on Nazis and I'm going hard on their sympathizers. How dare you accuse me?
Oh,
How dare you?
How dare you indeed.
Sir.
20 seconds.
Your sad boy haircut.
Oh.
With that haircut, you look like you're about to get melted when someone opens up the Ark of the Covenant. If anyone's a Nazi, sir,
10 seconds.
it's you with your side part.
Oh my
I yield
God.
the remainder of my time.
I'm glad I'm wearing my hat
And
tonight.
it's over.
I
I'm
do
the
that.
big
Right. Mr. Morgan, it is up.
Well,
All right,
first
all
off,
right, Mr. Morgan, you've got 1 minute starting now.
First
Mr.
off,
Morgan.
people don't need to open the Ark of the Covenant for me to burn. I just have to go outside, considering my dad was a polar bear, and that's how pale I am. So I'm just going to go ahead and, as Rihanna once said, take a bow. I'm going to say, don't stop the music, and just remind everybody. Yeah, I think it's telling that PK has the right attitude about Rihanna that Jason should have about Ace of Base, and PK should have Jason's attitude of, it's fine. It worked out. And then I actually had some sort of redemption beyond. I used it to do my thing, because, I don't know. I don't know how much else I can say.
20
Blistering.
seconds.
20 seconds. I don't need
Blistering
20
rebuttal.
seconds. Blistering rebuttal, like my skin when I walk outside and get any sort of sunlight here in Colorado.
You poor soul.
It's hard out there, man.
All right, Coach. What do you think? All the ballots are in.
Well, obviously, Pixie showing her off her performance and not coming close to what we expect of a performance that's even on par with the rest of the competitors.
What?
The other two, however, it's still a close race, and I'm wondering to see what Mr. Zuby is going to have for the rest of us, and trying to determine who is the winner of this round, because it was another nice little bout between these two Titanic competitors.
This was a very close knit race, and just to remind everyone, the audience watching or anyone else that might watch the recording of this later, this is a Magic the Gathering podcast, so I think one point negative for the producer, but it's okay. It was a good question.
Oh, but I'm getting fired after the next one.
Someone else is getting fired, and it ain't Matt Morgan. Let's go to the Grand Arbiter Zuby to find out. The results are in. Let's take it away, Zuby.
So, I will say Pixie came out pretty weak in the beginning, and
Ooh.
Jason came out strong. He was first in neck and neck. Matt was a little bit behind. Then during the rebuttals of everybody, that's when things started to even up a little bit. Though I will have to give this round completely to Pixie, because she came out ahead. She inched her way to the finish line on that last closing argument. So Pixie is the winner for question number 2.
You can't hate Rihanna like that. Now I want to make an appeal process. I'm going to pull a Jason here. I want to do an appeal. That's
Wow.
crap.
I'll have my letter of resignation in by the end of the show.
All I have to say is the Grand Arbiter has spoken. Whether we agree with him or not, it's not our place to say. But, MCR shade was thrown. Rihanna shade was thrown. Nazis were talked about, everything but bestiality. Oh wait, no, there was, because Matt Morgan is fathered by a polar bear. Let's head on over to round 3, and round 3 is very important, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, because it is your turn to pick the winner. We have a tight neck race here. We have our points leader, our favorite, Jason Alt, is behind 2 rounds, but if he wins this one, then we are all tied up going into round 4. So we have Matt winning 1 round, PK winning 1 round, and Jason is still not out of this. So get ready, chat. This is all on you. So
and
Jason is totally holding back.
I'll put the question in chat after Johnny reads
And
it.
Zuby, I've actually DM'd the questions over to your Twitter.
Yes, I finally saw it. Yes.
Okay.
perfect.
Alrighty.
Coach,
So
what do you
the
feel going into round 3, the chat pick round?
I think Jason is going to come back and just smoke these other 2 competitors right in the face, because it's Jason. He's done it before. He will do it again. He's just holding back. He wants to make this interesting for the rest of us.
All right.
I've been holding back, really. I thought I was just putting out the best argument the first 2 rounds. Was that me holding back?
You're holding back. You're definitely holding back.
Jason is
All right.
I mean, neo-Nazis, I don't know how hold back are we going here.
Well,
All right. Johnny the producer,
So-
what do you have in store for
so
round 3, the most important round?
the order for round 3, starting with Jason and going back down the line, then Matt, then Pixie. Here's the question. So, dating is fun until it isn't. What is the most embarrassing way in which you sabotaged a date that you are already on to avoid ever seeing that person again? And bonus points if it backfired.
All right.
Here,
Zuby,
and oh shoot, I can't put it all in chat. Hold on. It was
Zuby, 3 minutes on the clock.
okay. Hold on. I was just putting it in chat, and we're starting off with Jason.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, Jason, you have 3 minutes starting now.
I know this isn't popular. It's not what you're looking for. It's not the real zinger answer, but I respect women, and when I'm on a date with a woman, I'm honest and forthright, and I would never misrepresent anything or lie to a woman or try to sabotage a date I was on. I would say, I'm not really having a good time. Maybe this would be a good time to end tonight. And then she sees an Ace of Base CDs and things take a weird turn.
Doubling down doesn't usually work on this show. Just
It was a good answer. It's still a good answer now.
fair. All right.
The only time I've ever sabotaged a date was by playing Beastie Boys for a girl.
You said
All right, so is that the argument?
I mean, it's a bad
Her.
question. It's a real bad question.
I
What do
agree,
you want? What do you
Jason.
want
This
to
is
do?
a pretty rough
Totally a
question.
bad question. But
Jason
let us
goes
look
heel.
let us look at the replay, Jon Dunning, and we will see that Jason Alt has taken the ball, given it to his running back, and the running back forgot to take the ball into his hands, and he just smacks it all over the place, gives it to the fat defensive lineman,
Oh,
who just walks into the end zone for the score.
yikes.
Jason Alt hasn't have a clue where the hell he's at today.
Oh. Wow, this is definitely we're seeing a heel turn from Jason Alt. Maybe mad at the supreme verdict judge, the grand arbiter. I don't know, but that one, yeah.
None of this matters. Everybody knows I won the first 2 rounds. None of this matters.
All right.
Ooh.
And here's the thing: I'm biased towards Jason. I'm trying to agree with him, and I can't.
Oh no.
I can't.
All right.
I can't do it.
What's the most creative way you've ever lied to a woman you're pretending to care about? I don't know. It's a bad question. I respect women. That's my answer.
Ooh,
America.
here we go. Who's up next?
All right, I guess it'd be Matt, or it'd be Pixie, right?
No, it'd be Matt.
No.
So we're trying to tell a story that we wanted to ruin the date. This is a bad question. Sorry,
All right.
Johnny.
Slivers
then-
getting just hammered.
Then
Oh.
What is the
poor
most
I- no,
embarrassing
I
way
could-
in which you
a
sabotage a
rough-
date that was already underway in order to avoid seeing that person again?
Matt can't answer this because beggars cannot be choosers.
Oh,
Oh shit!
pouring
And
it
I think
on.
Jason just recovered some bonus points there, and he's back up to notch 1.
Oh, that's
That
an
counts as his
interception.
rebuttal.
Yeah.
That does count as his rebuttal.
That's all
No,
I
I was
need.
in.
We'll cut 10 seconds into your time for rebuttal. All right.
I would say I mean I was on a date and it was fine. I was also in college, but I could kind of tell like we're probably not going to do this again. So she asked, "Oh, well, do you want to go somewhere else?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I have this coupon. It's something that I thought we could use," and just kind of doubled down, like tried to not really lie about being cheap because I kind of was back then, but I tried to downplay, like I just don't want to spend that much more money on this because we're not going to do this again. You're a fine person, but it's just not for me. So tried to just weasel my way out of spending the most amount of money possible. Don't really feel great about it now, but that was probably like something I actively did to try to, I don't know about sabotage, but cause the least damage to myself as possible.
All right, Coach.
I don't know what to say to that one because that's just like normal. Hell, if I was a competitor with this, I have like at least 5 different stories when it comes to this stuff.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
Oh my.
Yeah, I don't know.
You are next.
I would
mean,
have something snappy to say, but I really want
That's
to hear
not-
what PK.
Yeah.
It's
It's-
not worth a highlight reel.
No.
All right,
Yeah,
Pixie,
you know
are
what?
you ready?
Sure.
What's up, Johnny?
Nah, I want to apologize for this one. That was a misfire. This question was my misfire. I want to like own that and really
This is the
apologize.
Tybalt
I'm
of
sorry.
questions. Yeah.
Hey, Tybalt is a great planeswalker, the uncommon one.
He really is now.
Make Tybalt great again.
All right, Pixie,
God,
you've got
this
3
is the
minutes
end of
starting
me.
now.
So, okay, I've never done anything to try and sabotage a date that was underway, but I will just tell you the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me while I was on a date. So, one time I was at Chewy's. It's like a Tex-Mex place. If
Yep.
y'all aren't familiar with Chewy's,
Nope.
okay,
I exactly know what that is.
okay, and
I used to work
Oh, okay. So they have these chairs that you sit in, and so like the back of the chair, between the seat and the back of the chair is open. There's like open space. And so I was like drinking a margarita and I was feeling real good, and like I just wasn't paying attention to what was happening to the back of my chair, and like this is really embarrassing. But like my butt crack was hanging out through the back of the chair like the whole time, and I just didn't realize it because I'd been drinking, and I mean it didn't sabotage the date, but it was really embarrassing, and like the servers, were like walking behind me the whole time, and I was just like this drunk bitch with like my butt hanging out, and I was just like, okay, this is mortifying. And so that was it. That was my most embarrassing event on a date.
So going down the court of the basketball ring, and she trips on her own feet and gives the ball back to the other team.
I feel like no matter what argument she makes, Coach is going to crap on her answer. But however, this was a tough question. I think for penance for the question, Johnny, you obviously, being the architect of this question, now you have to answer your own question. The world wants to know.
Yes.
What did you do to some poor person?
Oh.
All right, Johnny, starting now. You've got 3 minutes.
And go.
I was not good at dating, period. So there was basically, I just basically started making myself sound not optimal. It's like, it just, I started, I just kind of like in my head, it's like, I don't know. I don't even, this is a bad question. Jason's right. And absolutely. I just basically kind of didn't sell myself. I just basically made myself sound not like she would want to come back to talk to me or anything. So that's what I did. So,
right.
Yeah.
So Johnny is on timeout, but let's go to the rebuttal round.
I don't even think we should need to go there. Like, I don't even. So honestly,
How do you Rebuttals.
Johnny gets his own
Like
point.
this.
You know what? I'm going to spare the contestants the rest of this question.
But we do need a point. Should we just award it so we have all three of them go to the last round? This is the chat. So
yeah.
Chat, what do you think?
Chat needs to vote. So
Yeah,
chat has 1 minute to vote. And while we are talking about that, John, what do you think of the situation that the contestants have put themselves in? Because this is a debacle in itself with the question being wrong and in so many ways, and being that this is a magic show and the answers are just utterly ridiculous. Except for Jason, of course, because bias.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
what do you think, Mr.
Bias.
Dunning?
Well, we had butt cracks, we had a knight in shining armor, and then we had whatever Matt said. I don't remember quite. But
He was a cheap date.
That was a cheap
gotcha.
date.
Then again, he was
Pixie
in
says
college,
that she-
so that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah, I just
Just
want to say
saying.
this is a lot closer of an overall match than I expected. Especially, I like the curveballs, although this last question wasn't executed the best. But the curveballs of non-magic related questions were nice, and I think it leveled the playing field a little bit. I don't know. Let's go to Grand Arbiter Zuby. How do you think we are shaping up going to round number 4 with our competitors while we wait for the chat or the votes to come in?
Oh, what do I think? Who did the best out of the three of them?
No, just overall of everyone's performance.
Oh, so far tonight, it's actually been a good night. There's actually been people attempting to actually argue instead of just talking about eating babies and
Wow.
Lighting yourself on fire.
yeah, like actually attempting arguments this time. So it's really been tough. I know a lot of the chat has not been happy about my picks, and there's someone in here that hasn't been happy about my picks. But it's been an interesting night. This question though, out of the three, I understand where Jason was coming from, but I don't know. I feel like there's got to be something. Like he did something maybe where he did something where he maybe wanted to avoid someone, but we don't know. So.
All right, so we have enough results in to move on. So we have Trap voting, Trapexium voting for Johnny Slivers.
No.
Oh. Wild
Oh,
card.
wow.
That's my
Johnny
vote
gets
as
a
well.
vote.
But we do have
I just
Ken
voted for Jason.
Paddle
neutral that out.
has Jason. Pixie Kitten has Jason. The competitors are voting for Jason.
Don't vote for me because I didn't win the first 2 rounds, so it'll be a 3-way tie, and then nobody goes on to the 4th round.
Ursa
Let's just get this
Bearwalker,
over with.
Raphael says Jason. I vote for whatever is worst for Jason. Oh, he doesn't vote for Jason.
Oh.
But Matt did get 1 vote from Jim from the Spike Feeders, but I think the
There you go, Jim.
victory winds up going to the one and only Jason Alt. So we do have a 4th round. This is for all the marbles. We might as well throw out the record thus far because this is the round that decides it. Coach, are your nipples as erect as mine?
What?
Jesus.
That's a great question. What I don't know the answer to.
Perfect.
not ready
Let's
to
do
know.
round
How do you-
4.
How do you answer a question like that, John?
We tried worse.
And
I'm
why would
sorry.
you ask
It's my
a question like that in open public?
All right.
So let's get. Oh boy. All right, we'll go back through.
Oh boy.
Oh, my.
Is it hot in here? Okay. All right, we'll go back. We're starting with Matt.
It's
This
cold
is
over
a
here,
magic.
if
This
you know
is
what I
a
mean.
magic-related question.
Yeah.
So
No.
today you don't necessarily know how this card works because you're going to be remaking it anyway. But today you get to right one of the greatest wrongs in Magic the Gathering history, a design flaw so egregious Richard Garfield sobbed uncontrollably for a whole week into the piles of Hasbro consulting cash that he receives, using not less than one of the 3 items or abilities handed to you for inspiration, provided to you, redesigned Tybalt the Fireblooded,
Fiend-blooded.
Tybalt the Fiendblood, the 2-mana Planeswalker that was like, 2-mana Planeswalker, and then Renin 6 showed us how it was supposed to be done. Let's see, we're going to start with Matt, and your inspiration will be made of guacamole, riding a flying narwhal, or wearing a flaming tutu. Tell us how you would redesign Tybalt, the Fiendblood.
Wait, so I don't
These
get
options.
so hold on. As a judge, I need to understand what this guacamole narwhal flaming tutu thing is.
These are items of inspiration, things that you can use to redesign Tybalt the Fiendblooded.
So Matt has to then use these items to make Tybalt useful then?
Yes.
Or I have to use
making
only one?
You can use all three of them if you want.
Okay.
This is all inspiration for how to redesign Tybalt. Think of it like you're building an uncard out of Tybalt
We're
and
building
making
an
him great.
uncard.
Okay.
Using a flaming tutu, a narwhal, and some guacamole.
Oh, you got to pick one of those three.
No. He can pick any combination
Oh,
of
never
them.
mind.
I'm going to give you
I
that.
can pick any combination of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay, so Matt, you've got 3 minutes starting now.
Well, first off, I'm going to put Tybalt on a narwhal. That way he at least has first strike and protection from red. I mean, protects him from himself. It's unique on a planeswalker, so that already gives him some value. But let's give him a tutu. Let's make him, member of the LGBT community. He's red, so he's all over the place anyways. But yeah, so I think those two items alone, aesthetically, he's going to be a little more unique. I think that demon suit, dapperness, a little overplayed, a little overdone. So let's give him some different attire to stick out. But give him the narwhal. Let's give him a steed and ride that into battle. I know it's not going to overcome for any of his abilities because, I mean, the only way that he gets to any of his good abilities is you have to discard stuff at random. So maybe he gets to protect himself from discarding stuff to himself with the narwhal ability. I don't think that's going to save him from being just an overall not great card, but gives him something interesting to look at. The artwork is probably going to be a little better. And, I mean, he's got a narwhal. He's got a spear on his steed, better than a unicorn because he might find a way to get island walk as well.
All right, cool.
I have no other ideas. Guacamole, avocados are disgusting, guys.
But it's the good fat.
It's no.
Good.
And that's when
And
Tybalt opens up a Chipotle.
I think that was a pretty coherent, like given the ingredients, I think he made something edible. I don't know. I thought that was a pretty coherent, especially after everyone's reeling from last round. I think that was a pretty solid rebound, but we'll see what the rest of the competitors have in store for us.
It was a nice little burst from the offense, and we have to see what the other competitors are thinking and how they will respond to this one.
All right. So, Pixie, same question. Redesign Tybalt the Fiendblood. And yours, points of insurrection, he has tiny T-Rex arms, shoots laughing gas, and is also walking 12 wiener dogs.
So wait. Tiny T-Rex arms.
Tiny T-Rex arms.
Gas,
shoots laughing gas.
12 wiener dogs.
You can use any combination of those three to redesign a Magic card that is the ongoing meme of the entire history of the game.
All right, Pixie, are you ready?
No.
You have 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
Okay. So Tybalt is going to have the laughing gas, of course, because when you take laughing gas, you just laugh all the time. So that makes him hexproof. So you just, you like when you have laughing gas, you don't really care about anything. Nothing bothers you. Everything's just funny. So you're hexproof. And then also, like, he should be walking the 12 wiener dogs because, like, who doesn't love dogs on Magic cards? I mean, it's great. And so all of the dogs would give him protection from, like, every color because there's 12 of them. That's a lot. That's a lot of protection. So he's pretty much, I mean, he's hexproof and he has protection from all colors. Like, he's just there. He's doing his thing. The T-Rex arms, he doesn't need that. I can't. That's probably never a good thing to have short arms. That's all I got.
Toast?
Getting back up from the canvas once more, and it looks like Pixie is putting up a fight. It's going with one jab to the left, one jab to the right. and still not hitting the opponent because the opponent is on the bench just having a smoke break. We don't know what Pixie's up to anymore.
I quite like the argument quite a bit, but it was like watching the Iron Chef and they accidentally left out one of the ingredients. The T-Rex arms, I was really looking forward to it, but we'll see how that affects the overall judgment of this round for PK, a pivotal round. Let's see what the undefeated one, at least for at the moment, Jason Alt has to come back with.
All right, Jason. So your 3 items will be the typical summoning cats to do his bidding, laying exploding eggs, and thinks the floor is actually lava.
Wait, hold on. That was way too fast. Summoning cats to do bidding, exploding eggs, and thinks floor is lava.
Thinks floor is actually lava.
Okay, hold on. I'm just typing this all out. Okay. So, Jason, if you are ready, you have 3 minutes on the clock starting now.
You couldn't have drawn 3 better cards for me because this is a perfect redesign of Tybalt. We have connotations for all these things in Magic. Lava says deals damage, destroys lands. Eggs is something referred to something that produces mana and draws a card when it's sacrificed. And cats refers to tokens. The main problem with 2 mana Tybalt, he doesn't protect himself. And he doesn't have an ultimate worth working up to, and his initial loyalty is too small. If you gave him his first ability, where like as a +1 he created a cat token to protect himself, that wouldn't be too pushed on a 2 mana Planeswalker. If his maybe a second +1 or a -1 or something like that, he made an artifact that you could sack for a mana and to draw a card, that would be better than his current +1, I think. So if you made you could make that a -1 potentially, or you could swap it where the +1 was the egg and the -1 made a cat token. We could play with that. And then the lava on the floor, blow up 3 lands and deal 3 damage to each non-cat creature or something like that. I feel like that would be a much better Planeswalker. You wouldn't have to push his initial loyalty from 2 if he had a way to protect himself with cat tokens. He could still draw cards and give you mana in the form of those eggs, which would make him better to play on curve. And having an ultimate that's worth building up to that kind of destroys some of the lands makes your eggs more valuable for ramping and makes your cat tokens a little bit more useful. I think you've designed a very, very powerful Planeswalker that would have at least impacted Standard, if not Modern. Great pick on the cards.
Jason Alt keeping the ball for himself and going to score in for the touchdown, and he is going to give the referee a $100 bill to make sure he didn't throw that penalty flag. Busting out the wallet on the field, Jon Dunning, sir, Mr. They said, we said, what do you think about the play that just happened 5 seconds ago?
I would say so. I mean, all 3 competitors really woke up and rebounded from a shaky round 3. This was a dogfight, ladies and gentlemen. PK hung in there despite her nerves and whatnot. I think she did a phenomenal job overall. Matt Morgan was no slouch, going toe-to-toe with the undefeated hopeful champion of the show, and Jason Alt, never losing any round, so to speak, but just getting, I think it was just better competitors across the board. So I am really excited to see how this one shapes up. It's got to be better than the shape of my body, which is a sack of potatoes. Let's bring this over to Magic with Zuby, the Grand Arbiter of the Night. I would. I really almost had that. I really almost.
Wait, we still got to do.
Are we?
Oh yeah, we're rebuttaling,
John.
Oh jeez.
Here's what you do, John. You
Yeah.
get yourself a notepad. You write yourself some notes.
I blew my load too early. Let's go back to rebuttals. Fuck.
All right, rebuttals. Starting with Matt Morgan. You have 1 minute on the clock. Starting now.
I mean, well, we already recognized that the fix was in on this round. Jason Alt was given 3 pretty straightforward and easy picks, so we'll focus on Pixie. Actually, Pixie wasn't too bad. I enjoyed it. I think in general, this question also a little interesting, but I'm going to focus on the fix, giving Jason lava already associated with red magic. Avocado, let's be real. We got to keep them mono green or mono red, not into green. This one was interesting, so I'm just gonna. I don't even know how to rebuttal this question. If we're gonna be honest.
Oh no. All right.
15 seconds. Are you done?
15 seconds are up.
I'll bank my 15 seconds to my next minute of final arguments.
No,
That's
that's
not
not
a
how
thing,
it
but we'll
works.
move on.
It is now.
And
Not a
Mr. Matt
thing.
Morgan taking a swing with his 7-iron, and he hits the ground and breaks his entire club in half. How the hell do you do that? Because I've never seen this on a live television show before.
Divots.
It's just
Oh
you know,
my
this
God.
is the most punk rock show that we've had because it's very anti-establishment. People are upset with the questions. People are upset with the judging, but it is what it is, folks. Let's move on.
All right. Oh, yeah,
Me?
sorry.
Pixie.
Kitten, you got 1 minute to rebuttal, starting now.
I gotta say, first of all, I like these questions. The first one I didn't like. I couldn't answer it. But the rest of them are fine. So I'm going back with, I think Tybalt is fine the way he is. His plus and minus abilities, I mean, they're fine. But he just needs some protection. That's why the Laughing Gas gives him hexproof, and the Wiener Dogs protection from every color. I mean, it's perfect. He's fine the way he is. He doesn't need to change anything about himself. He just needs a little extra help. And that's what the Laughing Gas and the Wiener Dogs give him.
Ooh, all right. PK's not giving up, not going out without a fight on this one, Coach.
And back for the 4th time up the canvas. I don't know how she's making it alive in this boxing match because she keeps swinging and swinging. Her opponent is just still taking a smoke break, the same cigarette that has been in her mouth for the last 7 minutes, and wonders what the hell's going on because she is fighting thin air. She is going nowhere, and she is tiring herself for no reason whatsoever.
Wow.
This was me last week, PK. So don't worry.
Wah, wah.
Everything I did, Coach talked shit about. All right, let's closing.
All right.
Rebuttal.
No,
that was-
not closing
but-
arguments
But
yet.
that was
Rebuttal,
legitimate, though,
Jason.
because you had some terrible arguments, Jonathan.
So
Just saying.
next
True.
up is Jason Alt with his rebuttal. He has 1 minute starting now.
You both underutilized your abilities and misapplied abilities that Planeswalkers don't have. Planeswalkers don't get hexproof, and even if they did, it wouldn't protect them from getting swung at. That Laughing Gas ability should be to shrink a creature the opponent controls that's already templated on a Planeswalker, and it would protect Tybalt from getting swung at by one of their creatures. The Avocado could have been a thing that boosted his power somehow or boosted something. Avocados, they're nutritious. It could have been good for growth. Maybe you gain life with the avocado. I don't know. Wasn't my dumb prompt to get, but you should have done something with it. Leaving it on the table was a mistake. Now, when you got prompted with 2/2, you could have said, yeah, Tybalt makes a 2/2 creature. You didn't. Would have been a pun, would have made people laugh, and would have been good ability on a
15
Planeswalker.
seconds.
Instead, you said something low-key transphobic, which I think was incorrect. Wiener Dogs would have been a good ultimate. You summon a bunch of dog tokens. That would have been cool. I really
5
feel like you
seconds.
guys got okay abilities, didn't bother to use them.
And over.
And Jason Alt going in for the strike as his offense just steamrolls the entire defense in less than 7 seconds. And John, this one might be out of reach for the other two opposing
I
sides.
don't know. It's still close to call, but that was a strong round. Let's see how it goes in the final thoughts. This is how we kind of this final part of the round really shapes what the verdict thinks. So this is very important. I think this third kind of go around the final thoughts is really what's been kind of deciding each round, because we're human beings, we're stupid, and we only remember the last thing we hear. So let's go on
fuck
and hear
you too,
final
John.
thoughts.
All right.
I'm not being judged, Grand Arbiter. I can talk as much shit as I want. All right.
All right. So starting off with Matt Morgan, convince me why you think you should win and why your stuff is better than the other two. You have 1 minute starting now.
Why my stuff is better than the other two. Well, I already did better than the other two last week. The other two non-Jason guests. I think we know that.
Yeah.
Far and away. I think throughout the entire Supreme Verdict competition, my arguments were all, for the most part, thought out. Dating question all put aside. I would say we all make our mistakes. I've made it plenty as well. But I would say throughout all the different questions, I was consistent. May not have hit the home runs like Coach was looking for, but I was getting on base every time. I was at least making some sort of decent contribution to the arguments and didn't lay any eggs like Tybalt would with Jason's new design.
Ooh, a nice little effort there by Matthew Morgan. Now let's see how Pixie is willing to do after she has gotten knocked out 4 different times in the same round.
All right, Pixie. So you have 1 minute. Convince me why you should win this question. Starting now.
I mean, I'm not trying to attack other people's answers because that's just not my thing, okay? I'm not going to tear other people down just to build myself up. I think my answer's good. I think Tybalt, the way he is, he's fine. He just needs the extra protection. And there are planeswalkers that are hexproof, right? Isn't the Wanderer hexproof? Makes you hexproof?
Prevents non-combat damage.
Same thing. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I'm sticking with my answer. I think it's good. I think Tybalt's fine the way he is. I think he just needs a little bit extra protection. I think I used the abilities in an appropriate way.
And number 3, Pixie Kitten, just stopping the entire game for itself and pulling out the white flag and just like the French, surrendering this round and potentially the competition for herself to save us from this misery.
Oh boy, yeah. I just wanted. Let's end this thing. Let's go to the next competitor.
All right, Jason. You are the last one. Why can't convince me? You have 1 minute. Starting now.
I took 3 weird answers and put them into 3 abilities that could conceivably be on a Planeswalker. Would leave the Planeswalker as it is, as a 2/2 with 2 starting loyalty, perfectly playable. And actually a good card. I feel like the other 2 underutilized some of the prompts they got, which wasn't the assignment. It was to use all 3. And I feel like they used things that couldn't be on a Planeswalker, like giving a Planeswalker hexproof or giving it first strike. Because that's what you want in your Planeswalkers. You want them to have first strike when they're not Gideon. So, all in all, I think I'm the only one that actually bothered to answer the question, and that's why I should be declared the winner.
And Jason convincing the judges once again why he is the dominant player in Supreme Verdict for a 3rd time. John, what do you think of this round?
Definitely a convincing 4th round for Mr. Alt, but it doesn't matter what you and I think this time, Coach. It all goes to the Grand Arbiter. The chat got to have the unlucky assignment for round 3, but now round 4 falls solely on Magic with Zuby, the Grand Arbiter for the evening. I don't know, man. This was a tough fought round. I felt like the more shows we do of this, the passion rises, and it's really anyone's game. I think everyone showed up. I don't know how to call this one, but without further ado, let's go to our Grand Arbiter Zuby. The votes are in. Let's hear the verdict. The Supreme Verdict.
All right. The Supreme Verdict. So, going over everybody's answers, I did like them. They were all I wouldn't say they were all well thought out, but they were very interesting answers. But there was only one person among the 3 that actually answered the question as written down from Johnny Slivers. And with everybody being tied 1-1-1, I'm going to have to give this final round and still remaining champ, Jason Alt.
Here is your winner, representing
I did it.
Brainstorm Brewery, MTG Price, EDHRec.com, and Director's Cut, Jason Alt!
Does this mean I have to come back on the next one?
Yep.
Yes.
Will my torment never end?
Never.
No, it'll never end because you keep, doing well. Like I said, the first 2 questions were there were some hard fought questions. The 3rd one was this 4th one though. I feel like you were the only one who actually answered the question correctly.
I think we actually have to farm a little bit to. There we go. The victory music. I think we have to. The next episode probably won't feature the undefeated. We need to get some more competitors with some wins under their belts to kind of bring someone else up to challenge the undefeated Jason Alt. But let's go to I'll just stick with me because I'm gonna go with the winner, get his thoughts, and the losers of the match. Let's start with PK. PK, wow, you came in fighting. I mean, you were I would say that you were the underdog of this, but I think you did a hell of a job. What do you think went right for you, and what do you think went wrong for you?
I'm just not very good at thinking on my feet, so I was probably always gonna do poorly, but I put my best effort out there. I tried. That's all I can say.
You did pull some rounds, which was better than, like Rafael Garcia or myself or even Johnny Slivers. We all kind of shat the proverbial bed on Supreme Verdict showings. So I think that you are kind of now that you have one under your belt, you know what to expect, and I think you're someone to watch in the future. Who is someone out there in the Magic the Gathering community that you have your eye on that you would like to compete against?
Definitely Efren from Card Sphere.
Ruh-roh.
I would love to compete against Efren.
That would be an interesting one.
Efren's I'm going to try to defend himself.
Yeah, I haven't seen Efren, but no, he would. Yeah, I would definitely. I could easily beat Efren. Easily.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds like we're gonna have to make him show up in this next episode.
Pixie Kitten putting in everything she could. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much. All right, Matt we're here with Matt Morgan. This was a tough fight. I think probably arguably you were the most dominant competitor going against Jason. I thought it was neck and neck. It was razor thin, photo finish, all the proverbials. I don't know if I could have called it any differently, or it was. I'm glad that I didn't have to be the grand arbiter tonight. How do you feel, man? How do you feel about coming up just short of beating your boss?
I feel okay. I know I did better than a couple of the other guests prior. Narc, we have to find a new super fan. I'm sorry.
Ooh, Narc just got fired.
Ooh, he got fired for reasons he knows.
Oh.
But no, it was good coming on. I kind of had an idea of what to expect. Jason's obviously very clever. It's not like he, is a failed comedian or anything like that. But performer, retired comedian. Sorry. But no, it was a lot of fun.
Rebuttal stage? Oh shit! All right.
No, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was interesting seeing what some of these questions came up with. Yeah.
Like I said, with this showing, you've definitely earned another spot on this show if you are so daring to take it. Who out there in the community would you like to compete against, or are you just kind of itching for that rematch against Jason and Pixie?
I think it would. I mean, I would like a rematch against somebody who thinks it's a shameful thing to be a Rihanna fan, but no, man. I see Jim, especially last week. Jim from Spike Feeders, he and I had some good debate about Commanders specifically. Jim, I know you're in the chat too. I appreciate your vote, by the way. Let's duke it out sometime and see what happens.
All right, Matt Morgan from EDHRec.com, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, sir. All right, and we're here with the undefeated. That's 3-0. Jason Alt without breaking a sweat. Well, I think that this one you actually, it came a little closer. Was this a closer match than you expected, or was it just kind of smooth sailing throughout?
I thought that the other weeks where I won handily, it was a little closer than tonight was. I was a little surprised by some of the rulings when I thought I was much farther ahead, but that's okay. None of this matters. So I just like to stress that we're playing for no prizes whatsoever. And getting upset about that only a crazy person would get upset about this pretend contest. I had a lot of fun.
This is not pretend, sir.
It's very real.
I thought at least 25% of the questions were well written, And
Oh,
God.
Johnny.
Oh God.
It's fair. It's fair.
and I managed to mute my phone, so all the text messages I was getting didn't disturb anybody. Thanks everyone who watched and who voted for me in the third round, which I completely punted.
You're welcome.
Now Pixie's pissed off. Oh man.
Ooh.
No, I'm not. I really voted for him.
She did. She voted for me because I said I respect women,
dethrone
which is true.
Jason.
I
Uh-oh.
do it.
Hey, I
Respect
think
women, don't
someone's
lie to
calling
the
you out.
mates. What's that?
Jason, I think Trepixian's calling you out. I think I could dethrone Jason. I
Trepixian
think we
from
should
the
get John on
chat.
show.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I thought she was saying you're welcome because she voted for me in the third round because she did.
Oh, yes. Also, you're welcome because you're awesome. And I'm not totally biased to Jason at all.
That's good. Appreciate that.
Jason, you have now taken down every member of the 10th Street Hooligans besides Zuby hasn't competed in this yet, but you've also taken down some pretty formidable foes. Besides Josh Lee Kwai, like you said last time, because that's not going to happen, who that I could get can we put on the show that could put up a
Well,
fight
you know
against
how
you?
we tried to get Dana Roach from EDHRec Cast, and when he couldn't do it, we had Matt on. We should get Dana on, like we originally wanted.
All right, you hear that, Dana Roach?
Jesus.
That is a target on your head, my friend. Dana Roach responds from the chat. He says more moose. So I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know what kind of response.
That's code
that
word
is,
for something.
but we're gonna go with it.
Matt doesn't know what the code is, so.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's from the secret group in the EDHRec Slack that you were invited to.
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
that's fair.
All right, let's go to our grand arbiter Zuby. How do you caught a lot of flack for some judging decisions? Do you stand by round your decisions? And what did you think overall of this match? And what are you looking forward to the most on the next Supreme Verdict?
Well, I like that this time there was actually some debate going on, where I felt like in a previous Supreme Verdict, the first round question went really well. Then sort of the other two competitors besides Jason really just fell off the mark. So this was a really, really close.
He's talking about you, John.
This was close.
I got it.
Yeah, you, John.
And Coach and Johnny.
Hey, wait. I did slightly okay on the
No,
first.
Coach actually, I think out of everybody I faced, Coach gave me the toughest time in all 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I
Matt did great
apologize.
tonight, but I think Coach gave me the most grief the first week.
All right.
For sure.
Okay,
He was the toughest
it's okay.
competitor
I
I
punted third round too because of fucking time walk.
Yeah. When in doubt,
Because I
don't
couldn't
time
think
walk.
of a fucking reserve card that was
Hey.
better. That was better of worthiness.
All right.
Nobody-
Zoobs, what are you gonna step in the ring anytime soon, Zoobs? You are the last 10th Street Hooligan. That is.
I guess I have to, because I was originally
You do.
supposed to do it tonight, but since I thought I wasn't even going to come on, so yeah, I need to.
Yeah,
I need
thanks
to
a
step
lot.
in the ring and I need to make sure I get my butt handed to me as well too.
Right. All right.
Especially if I'm doing the commentating.
Johnny.
It's probably
Slivers.
bad that I'm doing this.
Johnny Slivers.
It needs to be all baseball for me, Coach, when you commentate,
But why?
because
No.
baseball's better than football.
No, that's
Yeah,
stupid.
We don't talk about sports here.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Magic's the
Johnny
only
Slivers,
good sport here.
If anyone came under fire this week, it was you. Do you have anything to say
Yeah.
to defend yourself, or you?
I punted. That was my punt.
Hey,
Yeah.
Johnny, by the way, we're going to reject that resignation you've already written up because it's not going to happen. You're not resigning anytime
Yeah.
soon.
You have to find me.
No one reads the fine print. All right, so let's go. That is your episode of Supreme Verdict. I want to thank all the
You're
competitors,
stuck with us.
our grand arbiter, our producer, everybody. Let's start with the producer. If he's still around, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Johnny Slivers and probably hiding in a dark corner somewhere.
Perfect. Pixie Kitten, where can everyone find you?
Everyone can find me on YouTube on my stupid YouTube channel called Pixie Kitten Plays.
Perfect. All right, and Matt Morgan.
You can find me on the Twitters at Mathimus55. It's spelled Mathimus 55.
Our undefeated competitor, Mr. Jason Alt.
I'm on Twitter at Jason E. Alt, and I have a pin post where you can find my many projects, including the project I do on this network called Director's Cut, which I co-host with Jon Dunning. And our next episode will be about the director, John Waters. Check it out.
Cannot wait. And Mr. The Bazaar from the Coach card.
Everyone can find me on the YouTube channel, The Card Bazaar, and can also find me on Twitter by going Coach at the Card Bazaar CC. Just the what the hell did we? Yeah. Oh, so John did the audio for the card anthology for Time Spiral, and it's actually I guess people like your voice better than mine because they keep going to it. Like what?
Nice.
That officially makes 6 episodes, I think, for John with the card anthology series. So yeah, it's doing pretty good.
I need to do one, Coach. I know I got your script. I just haven't had time to do it.
That's fine.
Totally fun.
It's okay. I'm still trying to finish the recording for the Brothers War. I'm almost done. I have like 7 chapters left.
Yeah,
like it's almost there.
I had a blast. Like everyone in the community should have doing one of those on their bucket list because it is a ton of fun and the best sign off in the industry. Magic with Zuby.
Magic with Zuby can be found on the following: on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. You can find me on YouTube by just searching for Magic with Zuby. And you can also reach out to me on Facebook.com/Magic with Zuby, on Twitter at Magic with Zuby, on Instagram at Magic_with_Zuby. And you may email me with any questions you may have at mtgzuby@gmail.com.
Perfect. And you could find me on this very channel. They said, we said, next video after this coming out, like Jason alluded to, is Director's Cut, talking about John Waters. Also announcing first here the next episode of The Hive Mind. We have Titus Lunter, the artist. He will be on the show very soon. That will be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, you like I think I said, find me on Twitter at OrzovDunn. Until next time, folks, not everyone is on Stranger Things Season 3 Twitter, so let's just back it up and stop talking about spoilers. We'll see you next week.
Put it on your muted words.